Welcome to the explainer. I just don't have the time. Seriously, how often do we say that? Between work, the commute, family stuff, especially here in the US where hustle culture is just nonstop. Fitness usually ends up dead last on the to-do list. But today, we're going to tackle that classic excuse right head on. Because here's the million-dollar question. Do you actually need to grind for hours to build a strong, lean body? I mean, when most of us think about getting in shape, we instantly picture those 2-hour, sweat-drenched gym montages from the movies, right? Like it has to be this massive all-or-nothing sacrifice. But what if that whole idea is just totally backwards? What if all it takes is 30 minutes a day? All right, section 1, the 2-hour workout myth. Let's completely dismantle this whole grind mentality. It's time to ditch the mindset that keeps so many of us insanely busy people totally out of shape. Think about the traditional gym routine for a second. You gotta pack a bag, fight traffic, pay crazy membership fees, wait around for machines. It eats up hours. Now compare that to the reality of calisthenics. Zero commute. You just need a tiny bit of space, your own body weight, maybe a pull-up bar, and boom, exactly 30 minutes of focus. It literally strips away all the friction of fitness. And hey, if you're a die-hard weightlifter listening to this explainer, stick around because this kind of crazy efficiency absolutely applies to you too.
Moving into section 2, the science of short workouts. Let's talk about health versus physique.
To really get how these short sessions work, we kind of have to separate our fitness goals into two buckets. Staying alive, which is your baseline health, and looking good, which is your physique. Now, picture the number 260,000. That is huge, right? And it's not some random internet stat. That is the actual number of people tracked in a massive 2002 meta-analysis that looked super closely at how exercise impacts our longevity. And the results from tracking all those people? Absolutely mind-blowing. They found that just 30 to 60 minutes of muscle strengthening activity per week was linked to lower rates of heart disease, cancer, and even death. Wait, did you catch the really important part there? Per week, not per day. That means just half an hour spread across your entire week is enough to move the needle on your long-term health. So if your goal is just to live longer, the bar is surprisingly low. You absolutely do not need to be in the gym 6 days a week to get those baseline health benefits. But okay, let's talk about the physique side of things, because let's be real, that's what a lot of us actually care about. How much muscle can you realistically build when you're short on time? Well, a 2016 study on training volume basically showed that hitting 10 or more sets per muscle group every week gives you your absolute max growth. But here's where it gets wild. The return on your investment drops off super fast. If you cut that in half and just do 5 sets a week, you are still getting a massive 70% of that maximum growth. And if you drop it all the way down to just 3 sets, you still get 50% of your max growth, not some tiny 30% or whatever, but half the total results for a fraction of the work. Honestly, we should just call this the lazy bum's guide to fitness. You literally work 30% as hard, but you're walking away with 50% of the physical benefits. It's kind of the ultimate cheat code for anyone who's busy. The science completely backs this up. You get real, highly visible progress with way fewer sets, just as long as you actually show up and do the work consistently. All right, section 3, diet tracking made easy, because you got to properly fuel these workouts. Now, we have to talk about a massive blind spot for most people when it comes to muscle growth, your nutrition and your sleep. Look, you can completely crush those 30-minute workouts, but if your fuel is off, you aren't going to see changes. Imagine you sit down to a classic chicken and rice meal. You might look down at your plate and think, sweet, I'm getting a solid 30 grams of protein here. But the reality, if you aren't measuring, it's probably closer to like 18 grams. And hey, a 12-gram difference might not sound like a big deal right now, but compound that day after day, week after week, that is literally the difference between actually growing muscle and totally stagnating. I know, tracking calories and protein used to be an absolute nightmare of typing and weighing every single thing you eat, which is exactly why busy people never do it. But there's a totally frictionless solution now. The source material for this explainer highlights an app called Cal You literally just snap a picture of your meal. That's it. The app instantly calculates your calories and macros using this massive food database. You just give the ingredients a quick double check to make sure it's accurate, and you're good to go. It even has a built-in barcode scanner for those late-night pantry raids, which is super quick. And actually, as mentioned in the source material from the Yellow Dude channel, there's a promo running right now. If you download Cal and use the code YellowDude, you get 3 days totally free. But the real takeaway here is just this. The second you actually know what you are putting into your body, your short workouts become insanely more effective. You stop guessing, and you finally start growing.
Section 4, your 30-minute action plan. Let's make every single minute count.
Okay, let's ramp the energy back up and get super practical. How do we actually maximize these 30 minutes? Because, spoiler alert, the answer isn't just rushing through a bunch of random sloppy exercises like you're late for a train. With calisthenics, efficiency is the name of the game. So the secret is ultimate compound movements. These let you hit every major muscle group without touching a single gym machine. Pull-ups or inverted rows, they're going to hammer your back and biceps at the exact same time. Push-ups and dips, those completely take care of your chest, shoulders, and triceps all at once. And bodyweight squats or lunges will aggressively work your legs and your core.
So, how do we structure this? Here's the exact 30-minute breakdown. First up, you take 3 minutes to warm up. Some dynamic arm swings, maybe a few light squats, just to get the blood pumping, because, let's face it, most of us roll out of bed or off an office chair feeling as stiff as a board. Next is the main event, 15 to 18 minutes. This is your magic compound block where the heavy lifting happens using those moves we just talked about. Then you spend 6 to 8 minutes on accessory work. Think core stuff like hollow body holds or arm work like diamond push-ups. And finally, a quick 2 to 3 minute cool down to stretch, shake it out, and just breathe. Now, the true beauty of this routine is how incredibly scalable it is. It totally adapts to whatever your specific goals are. If you decide to do this just 3 times a week, you've already crushed the health minimums from the research and significantly lowered your disease risk. But if you want a bit more and step it up to 4 or 5 times a week, now you are stacking enough weekly volume to actually sculpt a really visible, lean physique. It's totally up to you. You get to choose your own commitment level. Bringing us to Section 5, the secret ingredient. Consistency. Okay, let's have a quick reality check here and get deeply honest about the limits of this routine. Who is this actually for? Well, it is definitely for busy people who just want a lean, healthy, strong body, which honestly is the vast majority of us. You're going to see great progress and totally avoid the trap of needing hours in the gym. But who is this not for? Well, if your goal is to step on stage as an advanced bodybuilder or master crazy high-skill calisthenics moves like a full planche, 30 minutes just isn't going to cut it. Those elite goals demand extra sets, massive hours of practice, and way more recovery time. And hey, there's one completely non-negotiable rule we have to mention. Even though you are only training for 30 minutes, the fundamental laws of fitness do not just magically disappear. You still have to use progressive overload. That means you constantly need to be adding more reps, shifting to harder variations, or tacking on more sets over time to actually force your body to adapt and grow. Yes, the workout is short, but you still have to relentlessly challenge yourself every single time you show up. So I'll turn it back over to you. What will your body look like when you finally stop making excuses and start dedicating just 30 minutes a day? The research overwhelmingly proves that this works. The only real catch? Consistency. 30 minutes just once in a while does absolutely nothing. But 30 minutes done week after week, month after month, that fundamentally changes your life. So stop waiting for that perfect 2-hour block of free time, because guess what? It is never ever going to arrive. Start with the time you have right now, take action today, and just watch how your body changes. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope it totally empowered you to get moving. Catch you next time.